Hour where the trial over the controversial Nigerian pastor Timothy Omotoso and co-accused got underway in the Port Elizabeth High Court today. The trio has a total of 97 charges between them, with 33 main charge and 34 alternative, including racketeering, contravention of the Sexual Offences Act, human trafficking and rape. Omotoso is accused of trafficking young girls and women from various branches of his church, the Jesus Dominion International Church, to his house in Durban. Defense advocate Peter Durban filed an application to have some of the charges withdrawn, citing the charge sheet as vaguely defective. Presiding Judge Mandela Makaula dismissed the application. Judge Makaula said he will furnish the reasons for the dismissal during the trial. This comes after a lengthy argument by Durban asking the court to withdraw some of the charges on the charge sheet as they did not supply sufficient supporting details such as time, places and the nature of the offences. The court case has been adjourned to Tuesday to allow the state to prepare the requested particulars. And for more on this story, let us now cross live to our reporter who's been monitoring the case for us, Jade Lee-Pauls from Port Elizabeth. Jade, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much indeed for coming through. Quite a ton of events, of course, this afternoon. The defense advocate lodging an application to have some charges dropped against Omotoso and, of course, citing amongst other things, the time, as I said on my introduction, and that there were no dates listed on the charge sheet and so on. Talk to us about those proceedings.
Yes, it has been a very interesting day here in the Port Elizabeth High Court, and I must make mention of the fact that Timothy Omotoso has been incarcerated for 18 months. That's exactly a year and 6 months. So he has been in St. Albans prison for a lengthy period, and I think that today just cemented all the journalists who were in court today, just, really wanting to get this trial on the go. We know that the congregation also have been coming out at every single bail hearing, and they also wanted this trial to finally commence, and here we are finally today. But like you said, Palesa, very interesting day with the defense attorney Peter Durban citing that he wants to bring a submission to have those charges thrown out and squashed. But we subsequently saw that the judge Mandela, saying that he will not be squashing those charges, and he will, the trial will carry on. But the reason why the defense actually brought that submission, if I can just go back and explain, is because they're citing that the charges on the indictment don't have time references, don't have place references, locations, and that it doesn't give the defense a adequate, and lengthy indictment where they can actually draft up, their alibis, draft up how they're going to tackle the trial, so to speak. And they actually are requesting the state to provide them with that, to provide them with the so-called offences that they committed, the trio, Omotoso and his co-accused, and provide them with the times, the places. It also came out in court that one of the offences actually took place overseas in Israel. So the defense really calling on the state there to provide such evidence, so to speak, and provide the passports of those witnesses, provide the location, the time where these alleged offences occurred. So the state are going to, I'm not sure they're going to provide that information as what I was saying, but I think what they're going to do is break down that application that the defense brought and actually cite why they did not provide the defense with that. But, just speaking to some of the congregation, the Jesus Dominion International congregation members, they are still steadfast. They remain, steadfast that Timothy Omotoso is a righteous man. He's a spiritual leader. They call him Daddy. We've seen this over the past year when we would go to court. They would come out in their numbers supporting this man. And they're saying that all these allegations that have been brought forward by the witnesses are just that, pure speculations, pure allegations. There's no basis to some of the victims' testimony, and they are going to support the pastor until this trial is over. Speaking to Tsepo Ndulaza and the National Prosecuting Authority, he says that the state has a watertight case, that they're going to be bringing those victims to the stand. They will be testifying in the matter, and I suppose today being the first day, we'll see that happening over the course of the next month or so. Palesa.
Jake, just before we talk about what what's likely to happen tomorrow. Let's just talk about the two co-accused, Zuki Swasito and Lusanda Solani. We've also heard the state prosecutor saying that human trafficking charges relate to those two as they recruited young girls over a period of years. Very little is said about them. Let's just focus a little bit on them. Tell us more about the two.
Yeah, very serious charges against those two co-accused. They were actually arrested late last year, November and December, if I'm not mistaken. And also, they were released on 2,000 rands bail, police. So they're actually out on bail at the moment, while Timothy Omotoso is incarcerated at St. Albans Prison. But just looking at their charges, they are charged with racketeering, recruiting young girls aged between 13 and above to a house in Mhlanga in KZN, where Omotoso apparently kept the girls. So they were said to be the hench ladies, and they would collect these young girls across all the church branches, from Port Elizabeth all the way to Durban, and then take them to that house where Omotoso would groom for them, allegedly for sexual advances. And so they also, are being charged for racketeering, for also rape as well, aiding and abetting Omotoso, and then also human trafficking. So very serious charges there, and the combined collective charges of the trio, 97 charges. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the state actually breaks this down, and the evidence that's going to be brought with regards to these two co-accused. But I suppose that will also unpack tomorrow when the state actually sinks their teeth into their case, and when we go back to court.
All right, Jane, let's leave it at that. Thank you so much for coming through. Many thanks there to our reporter, Jade Lee Pauls, coming to us live from Port Elizabeth, of course, covering Pastor Omotoso's case for us. And as we've been reporting that the court case has been adjourned for tomorrow, so we'll be hearing